Welcome back to Surviving and Thriving, where we share with you the things that we have learned as we have transitioned our family from struggling to survive disease to thriving right smack dab in the midst of it, in the hopes that something that we share with you will help you, enlighten you, and encourage you as you transition your family from struggling to survive disease to thriving right smack dab in the midst of it. I got to tell you something funny. I just sat here and recorded a video and looked down to see how long it was and found out I never pressed record. So let's try this thing all over again. How are you doing? Are you handling yourself well? Are you holding up? Are you not taking unnecessary risk and doing what you have to do to protect yourself and your family? I hope so because I'm praying for you. And I hope my prayers, your actions are lining up with my prayers and that you're not out there taking unnecessary risk and putting yourself in jeopardy and going against what I'm praying for you. But I know you're praying for yourself. I hope you are. And praying for others as well as I am. Let's talk a little bit this week, right? Well, when you're dealing with chronic illness, sickness, disease, when you're dealing with this COVID-19 environment, a lot of stress comes with that. A lot of stress. It affects all kind of aspects of your life. People are getting laid off. People are getting sick. People know people who are dying. It's hard to get some of the things that you need in the store. Folks are cooped up in the house. It's a lot of things that's going on that's bringing about stress. Parents are worried about how they're going to be able to feed their kids, provide for their kids, stressed to make sure no one gets sick. How are we going to pay these bills? What about the job? There's some people that still have to go out and work, but they're very fearful because of they don't want to contract the disease, but they're doing what they have to do or feel like they have to do for their family. And so a lot of stress is out there. I mean, a lot of stress. All these things, you guys, can tear up a home. It can tear up a home. And I'm going to tell you that for all the years that we've been going through, which has been a good number of years, we've had to deal with a lot of stress, and we've fought a lot of arguments and had a lot of arguments, right? But even before we started going through at a severe level, we had a lot of arguments over finances because as a woman, it is important for me to have financial security. And as a young woman, I did not handle it well when I did not know if how we were going to manage or make things come together. And I'm just going to be honest with you, especially as a young woman at home raising kids without a job, and my husband's bringing in the only income, and we're self-employed, which means that sometimes that income isn't at a first, it's not a first and a 15th kind of income. Does that make sense? And I didn't handle it well, and it caused a lot of stress for me. So I'm going to be very transparent with you guys about things that we've gone through, what I've learned from it, and how we've dealt with it. First and foremost, what you need to know is that stress, even though you might be arguing right now and you don't know how to deal with it right now, doesn't have to tear your family apart. Stress, battles, dark seasons of darkness does not have to tell your family apart. I am a living witness that it can actually bring your family together and make you a stronger family, a stronger couple, a stronger person. Okay, so I am a living testimony, a living witness of that. So when you see me, that should be your encouragement to know. Now, I'm going to tell you a little bit about some stuff with us, okay? So when we started going through, we had very long seasons of darkness, years, bedridden, hospitals, surgeries back to back, can't walk, can't step, being told over and over again, she's not going to make it, she's going to die, packing up the car, loading up the car, driving long trips to go get some life-saving help from some alternative medicine things. And I'm gonna tell you, you guys, the trips darn near took me out because I really shouldn't have been doing that, but trying to make it, going through losing stuff, not having electricity, not having water, not having food. Kids can't fit their shoes, but you're still trying to get up and take them to church, right? We've been through a lot, and through those pressures and those stresses, you guys, we fought a lot. Sometimes we fought because we had different ideas about how to handle the finances. Sometimes we fought because we had different ideas about what to do for my health and for my life. We fought because we had different ideas how the house should be run and how the babies should be raised. We fought and because you know what? Sometimes you guys, I didn't think my husband was doing what I needed done for my life, for me to be able to live in those dark seasons and the situations that I was in, and I couldn't take care of myself. A lot of that is because I was looking at me and not looking at the totality, I think, of all that he had to do, or expecting him to be able to do more and not realizing that we're two different people. Sometimes my husband was really angry with me and we fought because he didn't think I appreciated what he did, and he was probably right. I did appreciate what he did. I just felt like at times he could have did more, which is in and of itself, you guys, a lack of appreciation. We fought because a lot of things. What should I take? What shouldn't I take? How should we go about it? I need to go here. We don't have the money to go there. Well, how can we have money to do this when I need to go get that done? We fought over a lot of stuff. Here's the thing, right? We usually had the same goal in mind when it came to the kids, to the house, to my health, to the finances. We wanted the same thing, had different ideas about how to get there. Sometimes we fought, you guys, right? Because we both handled situations differently. One would be strong and rise up, and the other one would be flicking out. That can cause a lot of friction. So we had a lot of arguments. We had a lot of fighting. I ain't gonna lie to you. There was times the police had to come, even with me going through some stuff. Okay? Now that was many years ago, but it is what it is. And it's truthful. Okay? There's a lot of times where we was like, you know what? Pack your stuff up and go. I don't ever want to see you again. We've had those arguments because of the stresses of life, the stresses of health, the stresses of uncertainty, the stresses of finances. Okay? I just want you to know that. I'm so glad we didn't divide our family and break our family up because of those things. But because we stuck through, we fought through, we examined ourselves, we learned different ways, we got in the Word to how to deal with the things of life, and because we made it through some things together. We might have fought through it, but we each other going through it, but we made it through together, which in turn, I learned my husband. I learned who he is, and I learned how to trust him. He learned who I am, and he's learned how to trust me, right? And so we can now submit to each other more. We can now work together more. And it's not the power struggle of who's right and who's wrong. And I'm going to share with you some stuff that because people have come to me for many years asking me how to get a marriage like mine. And when I share, a lot of people don't like to hear what I got to say. I might drop some nuggets in here for you today. You might not like it, might not work for you. Okay, I'm cool with that. But I'm telling you what worked for me and what I know. Okay. Even though we were fighting a lot, we were both fighting for the same thing. Sometimes we fight behind closed doors, but when we went out there to them doctors and we went out there to fight the world and face the world, we were on one accord and we fought together to face the world. Eventually, we learned to stop fighting each other because we learned each other, learned who the other one is. We learned how to work better together. And even though we don't always agree and we don't always see eye to eye, we're still going to march together to fight the world, to fight the things that we have to deal with. Okay. Now, let me tell you first and foremost, I'm a whole lot of woman, and I'm all woman, and I'm glad to be it. Okay. Now, just because I'm all woman does not mean that I'm a weak woman. I can handle it. I can bring home the bacon, I can fry it up, cook it, and then clean the house and pick my teeth afterwards. Okay. I'm a very strong woman. I'm a very opinionated woman, and I can take care of some stuff. I've been on my own since I'm 15, so I know how to live. I know how to make it. I don't need nobody to take care of me. Now, the flip side of that is, well, before I say that, even though I'm all woman, my husband being all man doesn't take away from me being all woman. In fact, it adds to it. I don't have to belittle him. I don't have to take nothing from him to make me feel like I'm a woman. Okay? He can be all man and I can be all woman, and I can applaud him for who he is and appreciate who God created me to be. And that's important for you to know that, okay? Because I believe in equal rights. I believe in all of that, but I'm not a feminist in the fact that I got to compete with a man to be who I am. I'm going to be who I am, whether I stand up against another woman or a man. and I can appreciate my husband being all man, right? And I can celebrate him being all man without it taking away anything from me being me, okay? So that's important. Now, even though I'm a whole lot of woman and I can get the job done, I enjoy not having to go out there fighting the world, but being able to be who God created me to be, which is a nurturer, to take care of my family and to be a helpmate and to support. I don't have a problem with that. Okay, now I'm going to tell you some things that I learned in this. A lot of times when it's a fight, there's a lot of fear, a lot of stress, and it's a power struggle. There's a lot of times, you guys, where I seen something coming down the road. My husband didn't hear me when I tried to tell him, and then we end up in that situation. One thing I learned is this. If I'm fighting with my husband to be right, that's ego and that's flesh. Okay? My husband is the head of my household, right? I'm right up there with him, but when it comes down to it, the buck stops with him. And I'm good with that. Now, just because I see something or I may know what's right or because I've experienced something before does not mean that everything has to go my way or be my way. I have learned that even if my husband is thinking something and it's not the right thing and it could cause a problem, as long as I could be thinking the opposite of it, but as long as I put everything that's in me to back him up on whatever decision that he's going to make, it's going to work out for our good. Sometimes it worked better than I ever thought it could work. And then other times we might have to go through a little bit, but we come out on it and it works out for our good. The other part of that is sometimes I backed him up. Sometimes he made decisions and it didn't look like it was for our good at the time. But guess what? I told you so is never appropriate. It is never appropriate. You will damage your trust and the love of your loved one by being an I told you so person, and they will not be vulnerable in front of you because the one that they're trying to be vulnerable in front of and love and express themselves and just be transparent with is the one who's sticking them with the knife. You don't want to be told I told you so, so don't tell nobody else I told you so. The thing to do is to encourage and let them know what they did right, the effort that they put forth, and then help them to clean up the mess and keep on walking like it ain't nothing. And I'm gonna tell you, a lot of women don't like hearing that. But you know what? I don't fight with my husband like that no more. And I got a great marriage. So you do what's best for you because, baby, I'm going to do what's best for me. Okay? Another thing that I learned is that you got to keep as many voices out of your marriage as possible. Especially when you're going through times like this with the coronavirus and everything. You have to keep as many conflicting voices. You can't do what somebody else is doing or what they think you should do. You have to do what you and your husband think you should do. So some of that means quit talking to everybody and letting them in your business. I'm going to tell you, when I used to talk and I used to listen to what other people say, my husband and I fought nonstop. And our marriage was miserable. But when I started getting in the Word and talking to God and shutting everybody out and following my husband and coming to agreement with him and giving my efforts to help push whatever it is he's deciding that we needed to do, I found that he listened to me more. He considered what I had to say more. He listened more to what I had to say. We made it through stuff and our marriage became sweet and them fights got less. Because I'm going to tell you, it went from the police coming multiple times a year to, maybe 3 times a year to 2 times a year to 1 times a year to no times a year. I can't even remember the last time the police had to come out here because we don't even fight like that no more. Okay? We disagree, but we don't fight like that no more. Okay? You can go through dark seasons and your families can come together. It does not have to be pulled apart. This is what I'm trying to help you and tell you and what has brought my family together instead of letting all that negativity pull us apart. Husbands get stressed out. Women get stressed out. But whoever's the head of your house will get stressed out when they have to deal with, how am I going to put clothes on the family? How am I going to feed the family? Are we going to be able to pay the rent? How are we going to keep the electricity and the gas on? When they have stresses at work, that will cause stresses. And sometimes they'll be a little snippy, little snotty, right? And I have learned as a wife, right, to let it ride and let it slide until it comes a time where I can say, you're being a little sharp right now. I need you to watch that. Okay? Sometimes you have to learn how to let it go. You might have a win inside, but sometimes you just got to let it go for the sake of peace, and then learn how to support and undergird the person that you love, right? Sometimes you can do it openly, and sometimes you kind of got to do it undercover, but you're kind of doing it. Okay? These are just things that I want to share with you guys that I have learned. Just because life is putting pressure on the both of you, it will cause you to go at each other, or to go at your kids, or to go at other people. But take that energy, and instead of accusing and blaming and looking for somebody to put fault on, because that's the natural tendency that people have, mankind has. When stress comes, pressure comes, problem comes, right? But instead of doing that, come together in agreement. You might disagree on how to get there, but then come together and figure out the way to get there. And sometimes you got to let what you want go, and help someone else. Let them have the winning decision, right? Because in the turn, when as they see that you support them and you let them lead out, they'll start listening to you and allowing you to have a say and lead out sometimes. I guess you could say that, right? But instead of turning that argument and that fighting on each other, turn it this way and go out against whatever you're coming up against. Okay? When you're going through tough times and hard times, I learned what my husband means when he says certain things. I learned his looks. I learned who he is and where his anointing and his giftings lie. So there's a lot of times, you guys, when I'm going through something and I might disagree with my husband, but I know he's anointed to see in this area. I might not see it, I might not understand it, but I will follow him as we go, and he usually leads us out. But there's other times, you guys, where my husband's like, you know what? I know it's this, I know it's that, but he knows where my giftings and my anointings lie. And he'll back up and say, I'm feeling this, but I know you're gifted and anointing in that. I know you're hearing from God in that, so I'm going to follow you. We'll do what it is that what you're told, what you feel that we should do. That's just a little golden nuggets that I'm going to give you. I know it might not have rubbed some of you right, but it's okay. It's all right. Do what's best for you. Okay? But don't let your family get pulled apart in this. And when this is all over, you guys, you don't want to have a lot of hurt and pains there, because that's a lot of mess to get through. But if, when all this is over, you got a lot of mess to get through, give each other room. Understand you both have hurt each other. A lot of times I used to think I didn't hurt my husband. He was the only one hurting me. Come to find out I was hurting him, right? That's because I thought I was perfect and that he was the one with all of the problems, right? But I was wrong. We all got problems. So I hope something in there was helpful for you. Please take care of your families and take care of yourself in this environment. And remember, in all things, at all times, do you stay in faith. Until next time. Bye.